Hi! I thought a good first video would be talking about some show mistakes I was involved with quite recently. I have two stories. This first one I have told many times. It is from about a year ago. I was involved in a production of 12 Angry Jurors, and one of the characters was an old Jewish man who was supposed to be very tired, and he did not want to be involved in the fighting on stage at all. But one of the actors on stage was feeling silly during one of the performances, and so because his character was an old man, he decided to do a bunch of things that, like, your grandpa would do. He was making a bunch of noises every time he sat down and sat up that made everyone laugh, or try not to. He was constantly butting in and like, yeah, every time he wanted to during other people's lines. It became so hard to stay in character that everyone just like trying not to smile and trying not to laugh. And I was on stage. I had a handkerchief, so every time I felt like laughing, I was constantly like I was fake coughing every time I was laughing. But with how often it happened, it wasn't very convincing. But the actor that had the hardest trouble staying in character was one that was delivering his lines at the time. And he was constantly laughing during his lines until another actor broke character and told him to go get some water. And because on stage we had a working water dispenser, like on stage the whole time. So he left to get some water, but that didn't help. And during one of his lines, he spilled water all over his face and the front of his shirt, which just made everyone almost die on stage trying not to laugh. And it was just so obvious. The director eventually, after the show, told us that was the first thing he critiqued us on, and how we had to stay in character no matter what happened. And we were all so mad with the actor that started it that immediately at intermission, everyone was just constantly like asking like, why would you do this? We're in a performance. And it was one of the funnest moments during this whole show. And there was a lot of tension in the show. So really, even though it messed us up, it helped us relax, I think, because that was our second to last one ever. So I appreciate it, even after all the mistakes. But the second one I want to happen was flash forward to that fall, so a few months ago from now. I was in a production of Music Man, but I wasn't an important character. I was like town person number 1. So I really just sang in all the chorus, I did some dancing, and I had like 2 lines, both of which because someone else didn't show up and I took over their character. But the mistake that I made was when I had to run, me and a bunch of other townspeople had to run in on stage directly after the first song. And we would start singing Iowa Stubborn and start doing our dance as we all ran on stage. But the very first performance, I was running through the audience and my hat fell off my head and stayed in the aisle. And that freaked me out during the performance, but I had to pretend that I was completely normal. But it was really obvious because everyone else had a hat, but I didn't. But suddenly at intermission, I had my hat again. And it was only after intermission, because I remember one of the people that ran in after me, she was a godsend. She picked up the hat off the aisle and then swiftly threw it backstage where the audience didn't see what she was doing, so she could do her dance at the beginning. And that was the only reason I was able to have my hat at all. But it was really embarrassing because that didn't happen at all during rehearsal. But that's also a mistake that's like bound to happen, something like that. Like, I'm sure the audience during that, they loved that because it made that show unique. So, but yeah, those are the stories I have today. So thank you for watching. And if you like this, I'll have a lot more theater type videos coming along soon. Probably once a week? I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But, bye!